everyone, my name is Hector Omar Velez Cantos, and today I want to share something very personal with you. We often hear that the success are the straight line, but in my experience, life is more like a land within road with many expensive obstacles. Today I'm here to tell about setting my first personal goals, a journey that started in the past and is now shaping my future. I remember clearly when I finished in high school, I had one goal, to enter the university. I studied to enter the exam and I succeeded. I feel so proud, like I have a different plan. I became very ill due to my health. I missed too many classes, I lost the 11-year program, and then the situation became even worse. The university did not help me. Because of this, I lost my spots and I was looking for the national systems for 3 long years. I feel defeated for a while. I had never thought seriously about my future because I think the doors were closed, but I keep trying. I do the exams again and again and again and again. 4 times in total, I was offered a spot in cities for away in the corners. I didn't love. I said no become. Then I found the ESPE, I researched, I prepared and decided to focus entirely on my goal. You saw now that back in high school, I really liked mathematics. I was quite good at it, but after the penalty from the national systems, I spent almost 3 years without studying anything formal. When I finally decided to aim for the ESPE, 4 years had exercise, I finished high school and I was incredibly difficult process. The entrance exam was purely focused on complex mathematics and after such a long time away from books, it was hard challenge. I had to push myself, study until late at the night and rely everything. It was truly expensive in terms of effort and dedications, but I made it. I got great score and I finally secured my spot. Today, I am the second semester of Pedagogy, and my future goal is clear. I want to graduate with a high school grade and move abroad to work as teacher or translator. Everything I have done past have prepared for the global future. Now, let me tell you how I handled the structures that brought me here. Moving on the challenge, I faced it. I had to be honest. The part to her was not just difficult, I was heartbreaking and full of the moments that I truly tested my spirit. As mentioned before, I was enrolled in a level art program. I became very ill due to my health and mission to my medical classes. Before the period, I had planned a perfect future, but I had never thought that the medical condition can destroy the academic drain so quickly. I was there at the time because I really wanted to study that career. My brother had already studied, and I loved the idea of following that path. The most frustrating part was the lack of the professional support from the university. I remember the day I spoke with the secretary. They told me explicitly, wait for the next process and re-enroll with the next students. I trusted them, and I followed their instruction perfectly. I wait for months, and I stayed alert with the phone every single day and was ready to fill the regains my spot. But when I tried to learn the system, the reality I was ready to pay the fee and regain my spot. But when I tried to learn the system, the reality hit me. I received the terrible call email from me. The client had rejected my spot. The university had sent false information to the system. They blamed me for an error that was entirely theirs because of the bureaucratic mistake. They punished me with a 3 years ban from any university application. I feel a profound sense in my powerlessness. I try to explain, I try to serve my solution, but there was no answer. those 3 years were lost, and we know the time is never. My motivation had rock bottom. I feel completely defeated. For a long time I questioned if it was even worth the try again. I attended the entrance and several times booked the nightmare in a case. I was finally offered the sport at the Janitor University online. But I was a city far away in a place that is very dangerous and where I had no family, no support me. It was practically impossible to go there. I spent 3 years daily to cycle and have disappointment. It was exhausting to wake up everything more in knowing that the system was against me. However, I did not face that a lot. I'm lucky to have the vital support of my family and very special friend who believed in even when I didn't. The support gave the stranger to try the one last time, this time with the ESPE. The final challenge with the academic preparations, it had been the year since I finished high school. I don't have money in pre-university course. So I had to one on my way. It was a massive challenge to regain the academic discipline age after the long break. I used my old notebooks and my old school notes and a lot of discipline. My technique was simple but intense. I created the master notebook delegate and entered it to mathematics. I didn't just read, I wrote the focus on formulae and exercise. Also vast and the length exercise for every single topic over again and until the concepts were the part of me. I was massive effort, spending hours at night with nothing but my own notes and my determinations. It was truly expensive and determined effort. But this notebook strategy became my weapon to overcome that much exam and finally secure my sport. Now, I want to share my current action and the progress I had achievement since I started the journey at the ESPE. To reach this point, I had to master the art of time management. Living in a rural area, my reality is very different at the city of students. I would say AM every single day. My work shoulder on my family far of demanding. I typically work from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. On Wednesday, on Thursday, on Friday, and Saturday. However, Mondays and Thursday I entirely dedicate my academic growth because my classes on these days start early at 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. respectively. I trust my study and highest priority. Balancing psychical work on the land with the pedagogical studies is not easy, but it's how my discipline stayed locked during those 3 years of studying. In terms of the academic performance, I have had a balanced experience. I performed well during the first partial, although I had small setbacks in the one specific subject, where I missed the passing grade by only a teeny margin. However, I have used this approach. Currently, I'm not on the right track. Fighting hard the second partial and I am confident that my performance in the upcoming exams will secure my success in all my subjects. A key part of the project has been my commitment of the music and technology strategy. I really thought I like Canva and Capcom to excel in my assignment and use Google Forms to manage data more importantly. I have been using Gemini as a personal tutor. I want to be clear, I don't use to be chat. I use it to train my mind. For example, when I struggle with a complex subject, like the one I have an exam for this coming Monday, and I ask to I explain to core concepts constantly. Then I ask to To test my weakest evaluation, repeat this process. I fully master the topic. This way, I ensure I keep up with the pace of my classes, even when the time is limited. Looking toward the future, I have a clear vision. I have for the next 5 years not just to master English, but to raise at the level excellence that opens the door globally. I also planning to study at the third language, perhaps Italian or French or an Asian language like Japanese or Korean or Chinese. My ultimate plan is to graduate from the pedagogy program, gain experience and relocate to Europe. I am particularly interested in countries like Denmark, Switzerland, Germany or French or even England in the northern countries. If Europe does not work out, my eyes are set on South Korea or Japan also. I must be honest with you. While I respect the teaching professional, it's the responsibility. It's carried, and my path is motivated by the need to get stability. I know that the solid content in 2 or more languages, I can find opportunities abroad that offer this stability that is hard to achieve here. I'm working hard every day, learning and using every tool at my disposal, and focusing on the global future. Everything I'm doing from the early mornings on the farm to the late nights studying with Gemini, it is a stepping over to the life abroad. Okay, to conclude my presentation, I want to reflect on the journey that brought me to this moment. I will look back at the last few years. I don't just see a series of strategy. I see the fundamentals of who I want today. I started this talk by sharing my history of frustration, the years of internality, on the feeling of the dreams were trapped behind of the bureaucratic errors. But today, I stand before you as a student of the ESPE. And that is a victory. What have you learning from all of this? The most important lesson is understanding personal goals. It's not about having a perfect math. It's about having the courage to keep working, to be working when the path becomes dark. I learned that my discipline, my notebook strategy, and my decision to use technological tools to empowerment were not just ways to pass an exam. They were ways to stay to make control in my life. I learned that while I cannot control the state of a university of the obstacles of the systems, I can control how effort is put into our sources. Looking toward the future, my vision remains focused on the horizon. I'm not just starting to earn a degree, I'm preparing to become a global citizen. In the coming years, my goal is to master English and the third and the three language, like French or Italian or Asian language to my skill set. Professional part is clear. I aim to graduate with excellence, not just to stay here, but use skill to find a stable life abroad. Whether it's the landscape of Europe or the motivating environments of Asia, my goal is to find a place where my dedication and my language skill are valued. Ultimately, I want you to remember that's the path. From the far where I work every morning to the university, where I study every afternoon, is a path of transformation. I am no longer that the person who waited for the system to give him a chance. I'm now the one who builds the own opportunities. This stems, Yuri, is how I had to my first personal goals. And this is how I will continue to snake in my future. Thank you very much for your time and for listening to my history. And see you in the next video. Bye bye.